Hello guys, Mr. Fluffy Pants here. Today guys, another video, and today guys, I'm going to be reviewing Season 1, Episode 1 of Loki, which is the new Disney Plus Marvel show, which is, I guess, based off the events, I guess, like, the after events of Endgame, where, Loki steals the Tesseract from the 2012 battle, which, I thought was an interesting concept, and, we all know when that happened that's what this show is going to be based around, which I was pretty excited for the show, and also this episode's called Glorious Purpose, which is kind of a running, theme throughout the episode, but this episode's like 55 minutes, I think, and I think they said every episode's gonna be about that long, and I think there's like 6 episodes, so yeah, pretty good. And also, just gotta say right off the bat, also this will contain spoilers, but this episode feels, or this show so far feels like the most movie-worthy of the MCU show so far, which, not to say anything bad against, Falcon or Winter Soldier or WandaVision, but this definitely feels the most cinematic out of it, and I think most of that is the world building I do with the TVA, and just, this world that they're trying to build, which I must say is, like, very spectacular, and whoever, helped this world come together at the TVA is just awesome. And also Tom Hiddleston as Loki, also always great. And then Owen Wilson as Mobius in Mobius. I absolutely love his character. He's kind of like I guess he's very similar to Loki, but, like, he gives somebody like Loki, to banter off of, where, he's got a very similar humor and quick wit to him, like Loki, which I think is very interesting, and I think that's a very good thing to have for, like, Loki in the show, especially, like, as we get later on into the series, because, I feel like Mobius can kind of relate to Loki more than, he would think could or whatnot, but, like I said, the show takes place, right after the events of Avengers Endgame, when, they do the time heist. Loki from 2012 steals the Tesseract and gets teleported to the desert, and, this is where some of the great world building comes in. I love the time portals, or not, I don't really know what you call them, but it's like this big, like, portal appears, and all the Minutemen come out, which I think's, a funny name for them, but they're pretty much like the TVA's, military or soldiers or whatnot, but they come out of this really cool looking portal, which you see a bunch of times, and they use, like, this really cool stick to hit Loki, and it makes him slow down, and she's like, you'll feel all the pain in real time, but you're going at 1/16th speed or something like that, which I think is really cool technology. Then they put, like, this collar on him, which allows, like, if he tries to run away or anything, they can, like, teleport him back where they kind of want him, which I think is very cool. And like I said, the world building technology of the TVA and all that's just spectacular. But Loki gets brought into the TVA. He gets, like, stripped of all his clothes, which is really cool. He gets, like, in this line where they're like, get your ticket, and the one guy in front of him doesn't get his ticket, and he just gets, like, disintegrated. Kind of remind me of in Thor Ragnarok, when the Grandmaster kind of used the goop staff or whatever to turn that one guy into just a pile of goop on the floor, which I thought was kind of funny. But this guy just straight up disintegrates. But pretty much how they explain it is that the timekeepers, which are, as Loki describes them later, these 3 lizard men that dictate the flow of time. So pretty much, we get a little backstory through, like, a TVA commercial or whatnot, but pretty much there were all these different timelines that were warring for, to be the one true timeline. And the timekeepers came in and, decided or dictated which timeline was going to be the proper flow of time, and anytime there's a deviation from what they kind of see it as, the TVA's in there to step in, reset it, which I think is really cool, because they have, like, these reset chargers they put on the ground, and, like, resets the universe or whatnot, but they have to take the variant person out, which in that case was Loki. They have to take him out of that timeline so they can reset it, so, there won't be a branched timeline, which I think is very cool, and a very cool concept, I must say. And like I said, the world building in the show so far is just excellent from the first episode. But he gets put in time court, and even Loki later describes it as bureaucrats, and why did the timekeepers just get to decide what is the proper flow of time, which, it does bring up a good point, but I think this show is really setting up the villain for Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, Kang the Conqueror, which I do believe he's going to end up being one of the timekeepers. And I think that just some early theory drafting here, I think that the TVA themselves have more sinister intentions, or at least their intentions ain't what they say they are, which, keep the proper flow of time. I believe there's something else in there too, but I don't know, we'll have to see that. But when he goes in time court, they're like, you're guilty, and they're pretty much just going to kill him, because they're like, we already reset your timeline, blah, blah, blah. But Owen Wilson, character, Mobius, which is a pretty cool callback, because, Mobius strip is what Tony Stark used to solve time travel or whatnot in Endgame, but which I guess goes to the whole thing about the TVA or whatnot, but he knows he can use Loki to help him because there's been like this time convict, I guess you could call it, which is going throughout time and like killing their Minutemen and stuff and just upsetting the timeline all over, like in 1580 something, 1890 in Oklahoma or whatnot, which we see at the end of the episode. But by the end of the episode, we learned that this person that keeps killing the Minutemen and upsetting the timeline is another variant of Loki, which I think we all know is pretty much gonna be Lady Loki, which I think is gonna be interesting. But Mobius is like, well, only Loki can help us get Loki, but he brings in Mobius brings him into his office and shows like it's pretty much like a whole projection of his entire life, or what was supposed to be his life, I guess. If he wasn't the variant or whatnot, but we get this cool little thing where it turns out Loki was D.B. Cooper, which, from the trailer, I thought was just going to be like a mission he has to go on or whatnot. But no, apparently this was a bet that Thor did with Loki about, being D.B. Cooper. And I don't know, I just think that's really cool that they had like a bet back in the 70s. And I don't know, I think that's just a really cool way to tie into history and stuff. But we know later in the series from the trailers, he's going to go to Pompeii and all that, which should be pretty cool. But also, like, with more of the world building, we see like the absolutely vastness of the TVA, which seems like it's like in a whole nother like reality, or not really reality, maybe dimension or something, because like they say like magic doesn't work here, and then you just see it and Loki's like, I thought you said no magic exists, and he's like, it doesn't. It's just this vast like city of the TVA and all that. It's really cool to look at and very beautiful. And also the score for the show is actually pretty amazing. Well, it's not like really memorable, but like when you're watching it, really adds to the show, which I think is what always a good score should do. But later on, Loki ends up, whenever he kind of escapes, because, they're like, hey, more of your men got killed, and Loki escapes, goes get his Tesseract, but then in the guy's drawer, which, I think the little secretary name was Casey or something. In his drawer, there was like with the Tesseract, because that's what Loki wanted to get out of there. He sees like all these different Infinity Stones, like copies of them. He's like, what are these Infinity Stones doing here? Like, oh, we get those all the time. Those are just some of the guys here can use them as paperweights, and that's when it really sets into Loki. Like, maybe this is like the higher branch, and it kind of wrecks his whole world, because he's like, these things are supposed to be the most powerful thing in the universe, and they don't even work here or nothing. They just like, they're just here, and they they're not powerful at all here, which really does upset his whole thing, which, like I said, the title episode, Glorious blah blah blah, kind of goes into that, because at the end, glorious purpose, I think, but at the end he's like, there is really no glorious purpose other than I guess, being here, because this does seem to be the supreme of all, everything else. And it kind of smashes his whole worldview. But, throughout his life projection, when Mobius is going, he's like looking at, how he pretty much caused his mother's death. He ended up dying in, since his father's death, he ends up dying in Infinity War. How him and Thor pretty much become really close, and that wrecks his whole world. And I forgot who said it, but I remember they said that it really sat into Loki that like he really cannot go back to his timeline, and he was either going to be stuck there at TVA or he was going to be killed, because he can't. There's no way for him to go back. Even if he did, I don't think he would want to, honestly, at that point. But like I said, and then Owen Wilson comes back, and also the 1 minute man we kept seeing throughout the entire first episode, that one girl, I think she's a pretty good fool, but I love when he slaps his collar, his like time travel, or I guess like where it makes him teleport collar on her, and he's just like playing around with it. But then when Owen Wilson, Mobius comes in to kind of, apprehend Loki, he sees that, Loki has, kind of accepted that, he's there. And another theory I have is whenever they, because, they either, send people back to their timeline or whatnot, erase their memory or whatnot, or they have to, I forgot what they called it, but they had pretty much like killing them, I think is what they implied. But I'm almost positive that all the people that work at the TVA are old variants of people, and then they just erase their memory and make them work at the TVA. That's my ongoing theory right now, but we'll see how true that turns out to be. But honestly though, this first episode was really good. I think this was a nice introduction to this show. There wasn't any really slow parts, even if there were. The banter between Owen Wilson and Tom Hiddleston was just excellent. And, it does give him a sparring partner, as I heard someone else explain it as, for, Loki's smart and fast-paced comments or whatnot. But, like I said, the world building here is just, like, on point, and I absolutely love this show so far. So I'm really excited to see, where the show goes, especially with Lady Loki and all that. Again, also, it does seem like this is setting up larger stuff in the MCU than the other two shows, but then again, you know, we thought that too, but I don't know, we'll have to see where it goes. I know it's definitely set up Ant-Man and the Wasp 3 and probably Doctor Strange 2, I would guess, but, and also, I guess, Spider-Man 3, I guess, I don't know, we'll just have to see where it goes, but I don't want to, you know, get too hyped over it, kind of like WandaVision, which was a little disappointing, but looking back on it, I really liked WandaVision, and, you know, I really loved Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but, I'll probably give this first episode of Loki, I'll give it a 9.3 out of 10, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room in case I start liking the episodes more and more, but I like 9.3 out of 10 is still a pretty good score, considering that, you know, it's the first episode of a brand new series, which, honestly, I was not too keen on when they first announced it, or we started seeing trailers for it, but, especially here recently, I was like, okay, I'm really excited to see where this goes, and I started hearing good things about it, so, like I said, 9.3 out of 10 is not bad, but it's actually really good on my scale, at least, but, yeah, like I said, this really did surprise me, but check out my Twitter and Discord link in the description. Let me know what you guys think about this first episode down below, and are you guys looking forward to it, and, you guys have any theories for what's going to happen in the future, but, like and subscribe for more, check out some other videos, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!